webinar is valid for getting PDUs, but probably better off to listen to them live. But if you do miss any of them, as I said, they are out on the digital library, and certainly anybody who wants to, welcome to come along and listen to them. And if you have found these webinars that you attended to be of value, certainly, by all means, feel free to forward a link to the webinar on to the person or persons that you think would value the webinar, and then they can look at it. There's no restrictions on forwarding links to it and so forth. I would prefer that people not download the WMV files themselves and forward those along. Those are intellectual properties that we would rather not have circulating in that particular fashion. So I'd rather people go and get links. As for the PDFs of the slides, you certainly can feel free to download those for your own personal use. But again, please don't forward copies of those PDFs around. Please have people send people links and have them download them. I hope that answered that question, Glenda. Let's see. Haas asks, where are you posting today's presentation? Again, as I said, it's in the same place. It's on the digital library, the RBCS website. So should be posted out there soon, next day or so, I would hope. Also, the webinars, audio of the webinars is available on iTunes. So if you subscribe to the RBCS podcast, these get pulled down as podcast in podcast form if you subscribe. Now there are varying levels of usefulness, I think. Now, for example, today's webinar, since there was reference to the slides, material on the slides, I think it's a little difficult to get all of the value out of it. Some of the more management-oriented webinars have been stuff that iTunes format would just be fine. So it's up to you, but would encourage you to subscribe to that, because then you can catch up on some of these webinars that you might have missed, at least via audio, your downtime in your car or what have you. That's some information from Alice here, which is good. Alice, thank you for this. She says, PMI self-study to a pre-recorded webinar is acceptable. Listening live to a webinar is also acceptable. Okay, great. Thank you, Alice. That's good information. So it sounds like if you have not gotten PDUs or you need some PDUs, and you can go out and listen to some of the PMI accredited webinars, and we just recently started doing that. So I think if you've only missed one, but the next one coming up is PMI accredited. You'll be able to tell if it's PMI accredited based on the two things. One is the logo on the invite. You'll now see the PMI logo on the invite for the PMI accredited ones, and also there's a follow-up email that goes out that will let you know whether you earn PDUs, and give you an option to go capture those. Okay, let's see. I got a couple emails, or a couple notes here from Tony and from Glenda saying there's some sort of issue with the RBCS website, getting a database error. So I'm not sure what that is. We will thank you for bringing that to my attention, guys. We'll check that up. I know we were having some new products added to our store, and sometimes that results in transient glitches to the website. So what I would do is just encourage you to check back in a half an hour or so. And in the meantime, when I get done with the webinar here, I will follow up with that immediately. And if we're having problems, we'll get that resolved. We're pretty happy. We've been using Pair Networks for the hosting of our website. We've had some other companies host our website previously. Really bad experiences with that, but Pair has been pretty good. And by the way, no, they don't pay me to say that. We're happy with Pair as a host. But every now and then we do see this kind of thing. There's some sort of hiccups between MySQL, which I guess is at the back-end database, and the presentation layer stuff, and we'll get that cleared up. So I apologize for the inconvenience, but I'm sure we'll get it fixed. Let's see, Glenda. Great. I'll go listen to other. Linda says, I will go listen to other webinars in the digital library. Ask for my interest, and of course, I'll suggest links to my QA teammates. Thank you. You're quite welcome. Yeah, feel free to forward those far and wide. And these webinars happen monthly. It's really easy to sign up, as you guys all know. You just go out to the website and enter your information there. You can sign up for the newsletter, or you can sign up for the webinar directly from the website, and it's a real straightforward process. So we're happy to do these, and these will continue pretty much indefinitely. Let's see. So Tony asks, Rex, do you typically ask for or require some sort of sign-off from the functional side that the test cases derived from the use cases are acceptable? This is a great question. There are so many different approaches to this, Tony, that I've seen in working with clients around the world. I do think it makes sense for non-test people to participate in process of determining what to test. The question is whether we want to involve them in the process of determining how to test that. And so let me be sort of specific, right? There's a distinction sometimes made between test analysis, which is the determination of what to test, and test design, which is the determination of how to test it. And what we were looking at here was test design via use cases. Now, if you're doing risk-based testing, and again, for those of you who are not familiar with what I mean by risk-based testing, which can be different than what other people mean, I'd encourage you to spend some time on in the RBCS library and maybe read something I've got out there on risk-based testing. There's a case study and implementation of risk-based testing that'd be a good way to get started in it. But anyway, in risk-based testing, what you're going to do is you're going to have some of the key stakeholders, which would include what you're referring to here, Tony, is the functional side. These would be the user surrogates, customer representatives, and so forth, people who understand the business aspect of it. They're going to participate, and they're going to help identify the risk items. So risk items would be, and this is applicable to the example that we looked at here, the e-commerce, could be things like cannot complete a purchase, system accepts invalid address, payment or shipping information, resources not released after cart abandonment, right? Those would be the risks. And I would want the users to help me identify that. Now, the question of should they have to go through the process of reviewing these test cases, well, yes, some of our clients do that. I think you should, if you're going to do that, I think you should do both, because I think if all you do is drag the stakeholders through a really detailed view of your testing, such as the test cases we saw here, I think you have a can't see the forest for the trees problem, in the sense that the level of detail is too much, and we've heard this from a number of clients that use that approach. Now, there can be perfectly good process reasons why people outside of the test team are involved in a review